Today I'm going to run you through what I consider is the ultimate air solution. If you're towing or you're constantly varying the loads in your four-wheel drive, you're going to want to check out this video. Welcome back to Loading Up. Today I'm going to run you through what I consider is a must-do modification to your four-wheel drive if you're towing. So if you're constantly changing the load in the back of your four-wheel drive, I went through it in the early days. Chasing spring rates for a ute specifically, wagons are exactly the same. I suppose any four-wheel drive, it's a friggin' nightmare. You cannot get a vehicle to ride. If you're using it as a daily driver, then you're using it on the weekend for, I don't know, towing to the tip, or you're towing a big boat, you're towing a caravan or even a camper trailer. It's just impossible to find a spring rate for the rear of the vehicle that will suit every situation. And that's where airbags really come into play. It's a Firestone airbag, and this is called a roll sleeve airbag. And I'll just explain a couple of things to you and where this differs from a helper spring airbag. Helper spring airbag goes inside of the spring and it pushes against the coils of the spring. So all it's doing is making the spring work harder to compress. This is a full replacement, so you don't actually have a rear spring. You can see here, this is your piston, and your piston's got a taper in it, and it's got this big bevel at the bottom. Why this is called a roll sleeve airbag? Inside you can see the airbag's rolled in. As it travels up and down, it rolls on this piston. As it pushes down on the piston, it forces more volume of air inside the airbag, and that's how you get a heavier spring rate. That's how you get a progressive rate. Now, when you're running these things in normal driving mode, say, and every vehicle is going to be different, but say for example, this thing here, I'll run it at about 35 PSI. I'll get a nice, soft, plush ride, like a very low spring rate, yeah? When I go and put a higher volume of air in it, so 60, 70 pounds, it does two things. It obviously lifts the airbag up, you put more pressure in, the airbag comes up, and that's what raises the back of the vehicle, but it also makes the spring rate heavier. So when I've got a big tow ball weight on the back, say I'm towing the big boat, which is 300 odd kilos of ball weight, when that boat hits washouts or goes through bumps, I don't get that massive jolt. It'll progress in the spring rate as it pushes down on the airbag. So effectively you get a super soft ride out of them. This is just staple for me now. Every single four-wheel drive that I have, anything that has a tow bar in it, this is what I put in the back of it. Now there's two ways that you can rig this up when it comes to filling these things. You can go with a very simple kit. You run two air lines out of the back and then straight into the back of your bumper bar. You put two Schrader valves, which is how I've got my white 2500 set up, and I just manual fill and manual deflate. How I've got this one set up is the same way we set up the SD5. This has got a full air kit. So to run the air kit, you have a heavy duty air compressor. So that's the Airbag Man compressor. The main priority of this thing here is just to control the airbags. You can see the volume of air that sits inside the air springs compared to say a 33 or a 35-inch tyre. So that's more than enough just to power the air system. Now, the compressor to the airbags, what controls all of that? You've really got three items here. This is your solenoid block. That's your pressure sensor. So that goes in line between your airbag, and there's your gauge. What you get in the kit, and it comes with relays, comes with all the switches and all the rest of it. When you turn the kit on, you power the kit up, it'll give you a reading, a digital reading, left and right, what your current airbags are at. When you hit the switch, the pressure sensor is already reading the display, but this switch will then open the solenoid block to either dump air out or fill air into the airbag. So it's really quite simple. Now there's a couple of different options when it comes to mounting. In the back of the Blue Ram, we actually laser cut and we made a little faceplate. I like them in the back of the tray now. We used to set them up in the glove box of the vehicles in the early days. We'd mount all of this in, but we were finding that there was extensive wiring and a lot of air routing to go through the vehicle. And also when you are inflating and deflating, generally you're only really doing that once. What our initial intention was, have it in the glove box as you're driving along, you can get your passenger to inflate or deflate. The reality is that you don't really do that. You only really set it up once depending on the load that you're carrying. A couple of other things that come with the kit, you get different options of mounting. There's a bracket that will mount the compressor onto the chassis rail, and then you obviously get a couple of different mounting brackets that go with it. Now, like I said, this kit is specifically for the Ram, but they make these kits specifically for a lot of vehicles. So jump on the Airbag Man website, have a look. If you're towing heavy loads, or if you're actually towing anything, regardless of what it is, I can guarantee you once you go to a full air replacement kit in the rear of your vehicle, you'll never go back to coil springs and you'll never go back to helper airbags. This is the right way to do it, and this is the only way that we do it. So there's a bit of a run through on what I think is the right way to put airbags in the back of your vehicle. So whether you're towing or you've got a vehicle that you're varying that load in the back, let's say you're a tradie, you go from camping mode on the weekend to a ton of tools back in there during the week. The ride quality on progressive rate springs far exceeds anything else that I've used before in the past. It's just another way of doing it, but I think this is the right way to do it, and that's why we run it right across the whole Patriot Campers range and in most of the vehicles of Patriot Games. So jump onto Airbag Man, have a look if there's a kit that suits you, talk to the team up there. Another Australian company, good family company, really good mates of ours, and one of those companies that we've progressed with over the 10 years of Patriot Campers. I wouldn't use anything else, so check them out. Friday afternoon, I'm going to finish loading up and I am out of here.